So, the priest on Sunday told me I gotta ask for help and did a big thing about how Michael Phelps wouldn't have never been the gold medal champion of the world if he didn't ask for help. Now, I've been asking for help with my neurological disorder for 25 years. I've been just truthful, honest with my father as he belittles me, blames me, victim blames, and he kind of says like totally delusional stuff. Like I'll explain to him how I got an overdose at age 7 and how in New Mexico there was no classes, and by bringing me to Maine, that made it so I was missing many years of education. That's the problem. You called me slow, but I'm missing 4 years. I have a neurological disorder from an overdose. On Halloween, I was slipped pills. That it makes perfect sense too. Like, why would my mother want to move to Texas? My father got the job offer. He said no, he doesn't want it. My mother loves her friends, her family, her job, and this little house. I mean, this big house, big fun. She loves all of it. But just about a year or so before, or a couple of months before, she gave her new adopted son an overdose. The doctors are starting to question her about it. Their son's starting to talk about it. Teachers are realizing there's a sudden change in the body. They're putting him in physical therapy, speech therapy for this sudden coordination issue. So I'm trying to be nice about it for years and years and years, but I'm about to really die, and I've lost already internal organs. I've already lost my health. There's many things I've lost, but it doesn't have to keep going this way. I can live a normal life if my father would just take responsibility for this. My mother died leaving him the bag. My mother did a bunch of fucked up shit, and then she passed away. She was popping pills, drinking, and she left my father holding the bag. Now, my father didn't want to be held in the bag, so what he did is he ignored everything, pretended like nothing ever happened, threw the bag in the woods, found somebody to move on, like run away and remarry and just go into the sunset. And whenever the son wants help with a problem that really exists, while my father's holding the bag, holding my life in his hands, holding it hostage, he wants to point fingers and victim blame. But I just sent him a text message today. It's killing me to do this over and over and over and try to be so nice about it. I mean, how many people are nice about being poisoned, having their body crippled, having their family affected, having their children in the future be put into danger, have their lives put into danger, lose their stuff, not be able to return to work, be denied medical care for year after year after year, get hurt, have seizures on the road, getting bloody, and there's somebody who, if he just takes responsibility, it all stops. That's it. Once when the doctors and Social Security know what happened, then Social Security will work with me and the doctors will give me basic health care. It's nothing big. I mean, it's pretty simple stuff. It's just like give me epilepsy medication, and when I have a seizure, record it and keep me in the hospital overnight. That's it. But my father has said it's a red herring, it's a fantasy, don't help him. He tries to convince the insurance that I'm not needing any help. The insurance cuts off my ambulance bracelet, so when I have a seizure on the side of the road, an ambulance doesn't come for me anymore. My father is responsible for making the statements that caused that. I never told the doctors this was a fantasy. I never told the doctors I'm a red herring. I never told the doctors any bullshit. I told them the facts, and I woke up unconscious, all bloodied in the hospital, and told them the facts. And Lowell General has like 40 emergency room visits that they don't understand. Found Zach unconscious, no drugs. Found Zach with injuries, no drugs. Found Zach frozen to death, unconscious, with just alcohol. Found Zach unconscious, no drugs. Found Zach unconscious, alcohol. Found Zach unconscious, got no gabapentin, talking that he ran out of gabapentin. Was on gabapentin the day before. Zach has had seizure on the side of the road, sober once again, but this one with witnesses. Zach has seizure up in his room in Rochester till his head bashes off the table, bleeds all over the wall, and then a man licks out his ear because he's losing his mind. He goes to the emergency room, but the doctor reads what his father wrote, then hears about this licking ear stuff and says, well, the father says that this is just storytelling, so let's release him. Then all the nurses have to call the medical board because I'm bleeding all over myself. I can't walk. I'm in a wheelchair. I can't dial a phone. And I got brain damage, so I can't talk, can't walk. And it takes me 3 months to really walk and talk again. But apparently my father says I don't need medical care for these injuries. Let's see what he texted back when I told him to play. I told him I would give him love. I have open arms, and I will work with him cleaning up Patricia's mess. I know he doesn't like holding the bag for her, but he needs to handle it. He cannot keep on pointing fingers at me and leaving me to get hurt. So let's see. Now, the last couple times I try to work with him, sent him maybe some, like I go to church every Sunday, so does he. So I sent him the priest that kind of explains that, we should work together. Trying to be so nice about this, and I've never seen anybody take as much as I have and actually go and work with the person who fucking did it to them. Or I wouldn't say my father did it to me. He was complacent in what was going on, and he was being lied to, and he was fine with it. He also was looking the other way when there was obvious red flags, like when his wife was popping his son's pills, or when there was a bunch of blaming on the son for alcohol. The son is crying for 2 weeks saying he didn't drink it. Then the mother says she drank it. Then she says she didn't drink it. Then she says she did drink it. Then she didn't drink it. And the son has always said he didn't drink it. And of course, when the son gets about 2 years older, he wonders what drinking's all about. So there's a bunch of shit like that. Then also you got to remember they're trying to slander my name as well during childhood constantly, constantly. Like my nephew stole a lighter and brought it to school and played with it at the age of 5 or 6. I took a book of matches off the table and tried to see how the glowy light worked. My nephew had a talking to, and he said he didn't know why he did it. I said I didn't know why I did it to my mother. She wouldn't take the answer. She told me that I could have burned down the house. So I am trying to burn down the house. I could have burned down the house. And you better admit it. You were trying to burn down the house. Yes, you were. And when I say, no, I wasn't, I don't know. No, you were. You could have. Those are matches that could have burned down the house. So you're trying to burn down the house. You need to admit it. That's what you need to say. I know this is what it is. And of course, my mother's telling me that she knows best, trying to convince me, and I just go, "Oh, what? What? Okay. I guess that's right. I don't know." So I listen to my mother. I repeat exactly as she tells me to say, and next thing I know, I'm being blamed for burning down a house, even though no house ever got burned. Zach is trying to burn down my house. No, that's Patricia. Patricia put that in my head, and she told me that that was a fact. She said if you light a match to look at it, you could burn down a house. So that means you're trying to burn down the house on purpose. And that logic to a 5-year-old, a 6-year-old, is going to be confusing. So, of course, that did damage to my psyche. Then my mother's throwing away toys because she says I don't love her enough, and then lying to the family saying it's because I didn't clean my room. And oh, yeah, and then she gives me a full bottle of Epicac. Oh, and then she has to get her way on Halloween. So she decides to call me over, slip me some pills. I get sick, and then everybody's like, why is Zach suddenly sick? He was getting his costume on, ready to go out. We said he could go out with us. Then you called him over for meds, and now he's sick in the bathroom? That seems weird, but okay. Patricia, have fun with Zach. We're going out. Then the next year. 1 out of those 3 years, I'm pretty sure my brother and my nephew were there too. I'm pretty sure I remember being sick after taking pills with my brother and nephew there one time, but I'm not quite sure. I remember them leaving and coming quickly, like I was supposed to go trick-or-treating with them or something. But the other two, I think it was just me, my mother, and my father. I even think one of them was in Texas, but I might be mistaken. They might have all been in Westford. I'm missing something. It feels like there's one that it doesn't seem like it was in Texas, and it doesn't seem like it was in Westford. Seems like it was in a different house. Oh man, yeah, this is a different house when I got sick. The bathroom is positioned differently. Could be Westford. Anyways, yeah, so I took pills, got sick. My mother got her way. Now let's see. 31 years old, 25 years of this bullshit. Being nice about it, asking my father to handle it. Let's see what he says to me. Because this is going to be him right now, I bet. I haven't read it yet, by the way. Hmm. Hmm. I don't know what that is. Opt-out code? That is so weird. Oh, I guess they didn't message me at all. See? Guess that beep wasn't them. Oh, well, I'll find out. Usually it's something like, oh, we want to blame you. It's victim blaming. It's all your fault. Well, it makes no sense for the stuff I'm talking about. It sounds more like a dodge and a runaway type statement. And oh, and then I got a text message in there too that says I'm burning down their houses. Even though there's never been any house burnt. Never been any tax return. My father never lost a fucking penny. But meanwhile, my mother is lying to him, wasting all his fucking money while hurting me with fucking drugs. Why do you feel like I am the guy you should hate when your wife wasted so much money hurting an orphan? I mean, don't you feel like your wife lying to you is a problem and should be fixed? I mean, you can't blame me because your wife lied to you and wasted money and doing all this weird psycho crap, psychiatric psycho, making up psychiatric illnesses. She even tried to brainwash me into thinking I was schizophrenic, what didn't work, and she wanted me to get on Zyprexa. Thank God I knew what schizophrenic was because I had a roommate across the hall. If I didn't know, my mother might have succeeded on that one, and I might have more damage to my body. My mother really, really wanted to put me on Zyprexa for no other reason than to give me a very certain disease. The disease is called medical-induced schizophrenia. And here's what it says about that. Medication-induced schizophrenia is not a form of schizophrenia. The symptoms of medical-induced schizophrenia match schizophrenics exactly. The difference is medical-induced schizophrenia is caused by giving people Zyprexa who aren't schizophrenic, and then they have schizophrenic symptoms. Now, my mother was a nurse, and this is pretty easy to understand with schizophrenics. So, what happens if my mother knew about medical medication induced schizophrenia? If she knew about that, and she was pushing for Zyprexa for no reason whatsoever, and trying to brainwash me, and wagging her finger around the house, trying to convince me that action figures playing with them means I'm schizophrenic and stuff, telling the doctors I need Zyprexa. Meanwhile, the doctors tell her to stop that crap. Then she gets mad. She wants me to say and repeat lies to the doctors. And what? That I'm just supposed to ignore that she did that with other stuff like depression and crap? Am I supposed to ignore what happened to me in Westford and just go, oh, my father wants to blame me, so I'll just curl up in the woods, dig a hole, and I'll wait to just die for him? Oh, yeah, he wants me to keep his secret, so I should do so. I should just roll up in a ball. I mean, I have a job, I have an apartment, I have a bunch of doctors, I have everything I need, but the only problem is my father and mother are still lying and trying to cut up everything. And even if they just shut up now, it doesn't undo all the stuff they said, did, and made permanent on a medical file. My father even told me this. He goes, oh, your disabilities get wiped out off your medical record at 18. I'm not kidding. My father told me that medical disabilities disappear at 18 off your medical record. If you have a broken back and you're in a wheelchair and you're 17 years old and you turn 18, all of a sudden the doctors do not think you're in a wheelchair anymore. That's what my father said. At 18, all your disabilities just disappear. I was dropped off at the woods at 19 years old as my mother brainwashed me, convinced the doctors. I got a doctor in Chelmsford that's overdoing the Seroquel and Thorazine and all these pills. As I just tell him, all I want is something for anxiety and sleep. I tell him I'm having trouble sleeping because the meds are making me scared and this fear feeling. I wake up hungover, I'm sick. My heart beats weird. I feel like I'm going to die sometimes. I tell the doctor this and I say, I can't sleep. It's so, I mean, I'm sedated, but it's scary and I can't sleep like that. So what does he do? He says, give it some time, up the dose. I try it and I get so bad, I have to cut it in half. I say, no, no. I cut myself down. I go back to the doctor and I say, hey, this stuff is hurting me. He goes, no, no, stick with it. And then I find out that's because my mother was telling the doctors, give him more meds, give him more meds, give him more meds, give him more meds, give him more meds. He has this wrong, he has this wrong, he has this wrong, he has this illness, give him more meds, give him more meds. Meanwhile, making up stories. Now, of course she did. Now, I didn't know it in Westford at 6 or 5 years old or whatever. But now as an adult, I know what my mother did was wrong. And I know my mother was full of shit. I mean, come on. You walk, all my toys were thrown away because I like them better than her? Are you telling me that that's not full of shit behavior? Oh, and then when I bring it up with other people, she says it's because I didn't clean my room. Okay, that's definitely full of shit. How about the overdose? I'm left with no vision. I can't feel my hands. I can't talk. I'm going unconscious. My breathing's slowing down. But yet sleeping it off and not bringing me to the doctors is the best medicine. My mother says, they don't know what they're talking about. Just leave them there. Are you sure that's not a full of shit behavior? Because I'm pretty sure, even if you think your kid took a pill off the floor and they don't look sick, you still bring them to the emergency room. You knew I took a handful of pills. You knew something was happening to me. And you let me sleep it off and damage my fucking body for life. I did not make that choice for them.